Hi everyone, welcome to my first ever reading vlog. This weekend, May 1st and May 2nd of 2021, JD Ray Reads here on YouTube is hosting her 48-hour readathon. Now it's Saturday afternoon and I'm going to go until midnight tomorrow in my time zone. So I'm only going to be doing about 36 hours because I have to work Monday morning, of course. And in honor of Jade, I figured I'd be reading some middle grades, specifically middle grade series for books that I've already started. Before I do that, I want to show you some books that I've got from Awesome Books recently, including two of the books that I'm going to be reading for this reading vlog. So I have Before They Are Hanged and The Last Argument of Kings, which are books 2 and 3 in the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. I recently read the first book in this trilogy and I was really excited to snap up a used copy of these. Then I've got The Voyage of the Dawn Treader by C.S. This is Little House in the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I checked it out on Goodreads. It seems to have interesting reviews. And then the next two are books that I'm interested in reading. This is Tilly and the Lost Fairy Tales, book 2 in the Pages and Co series by Anna James. I read the first one in January, I think. Really loved it and ordered myself a paperback of this one. So this is the second book in the series and the first one I'm going to be reading in this readathon middle grade teen vlog. The next one is A Tangle of Spells by Michelle Harrison, which is a series I believe Jade really likes. Third book, and I'm really excited to read it. And also, can we appreciate this cover? Pages and Co, I'm not really sure if Jade has read it. I know she mentioned it in the middle grade series video, but I don't recall if it's the TBR video she was mentioning into or the books she's already read. And lastly, the book I'm going to be reading at night, well, tonight and tomorrow evening, is Wondersmith, The Calling of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend, the second book in the Nevermore series. I really liked the first one, giving me Harry Potter vibes. Better way to kick off this reading vlog than to follow Jade's recent 30-minute real-time read with me. And the first book I'm going to be reading is, I think, A Tangle of... So I'm gonna get started, read a bit of this one, and check in with you later. Here's my setup. Real-time read with me. Shout out to Basically Breath, whose videos I haven't caught up with in a while, and she's essentially my entire watch later list. And here is my read for the time being. I just got back from a walk with my friends by the lake, which you would have seen some clips of. I'll insert them before this one. Unfortunately, that does mean I missed a good chance of Steph's reading experience with Jade this afternoon, but I plan on catching up on those as I continue reading for the rest of the evening. It's about 8 p.m, so before I settle in for the night, I'm gonna take off this makeup because look at that shiny face. I'm going to do my skincare, shower, put PJs on, get some tea to get cozy, and I'm going to continue reading A Tangle of Spells by Michelle Harrison and getting hopefully a good chunk read of Wondersmith by Jessica Townsend. I did also want to start watching the Shadow and Bone adaptation on Netflix, but I think that may have to be something that's left for Monday. We'll see about that. If this is the last clip for the evening, which I think it is, good night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, I think even people that didn't necessarily enjoy the story were like, you know what though, David Tennant does a great job with the audio.
Good morning, guys. I'm not showing my face quite yet, but because I don't look quite presentable yet. For today, it's now 11 a.m. on Sunday morning, and last night I fell asleep without watching any Shadow and Bone. Just read a bit of Wondersmith, about 20% of it to be precise, and I watched a lot of BookTube. What else is new? No progress on A Tangle of Spells by Michelle Harrison. I'm still on page 78. I'm hoping to finish that this morning before I join the family for lunch, and then Tilly will have to remain for after lunch, as well as Wondersmith. At this point, I'm thinking maybe this was too ambitious, though I was hoping doing middle grades would be helpful, but we'll see. Hi guys, it's now Sunday night and Jade is going to start sprinting in about 20 minutes from now, so I'm looking forward to joining those and actually finally catching some reading sprints live over the weekend rather than replaying them whenever available. In other news updates, I finished A Tangle of Spells and rated it a 3-star. Probably more detailed review tomorrow morning because now I just feel tired from reading and I have a whole other book I want to finish. So I'll tell you more about that in the morning. And according to my Kindle, I have 40 minutes left of Wondersmith. So that's gonna be the first thing I'm gonna do in the first reading sprint now with Jade. And I'll update you tomorrow. As for and the Lost Fairy Tales, I haven't even started it. We'll see how it goes. I generally feel really tired from reading, so maybe 3 books was a bit ambitious, even though 3 mediocre grades. Come on, I've done more than that. I've done 3 fantasies in less. For Becca's Boot Coupleton, I read the whole entire Shadow and Bone trilogy, plus some other books. So this is doable. I'm just rather tired. Okay, here with one last update for the evening. Remember how I said I'm not really sure Jade has read Pages and Go? She put it in a TBR video, but she's read all the other books. I was toying with the idea with updating this vlog and saying I won't be reading them because Jade hasn't read it yet. And guess what? On the reading sprints now, I'm finding out she's just reading Pages and Go, so now I feel like I have to abandon Wondersmith for the night and at least get started on Pages and Co. Tilly in the Lost Fairy Tales by Anna James. At least get a little bit of it in. So yeah, change of plans. We're gonna be doing the reading sprints and reading this one. Pardon the look, it's Monday. I'm recording this on my lunch break, which work from home for the win, but break is too short to put on a face. And I was sleepy this morning because I stayed up late reading this book, which I finished this morning. So technically still within the 48 hour, I just didn't do the readathon in Jade's time zone. So let's start with this one. Tilly and the Lost Fairy Tales, the second book in the Pages and Go series by Anna James. Coincidentally, Jade was reading the first book in yesterday's reading sprints, which is why I changed my mind and decided to still give this book a shot. This is 380 odd pages and it's sadly disappointing and didn't live up to my expectations after how much I liked the first book, which I gave 4 stars to. In retrospect, maybe that's more of a 3-star, and this ended up being a 2.5 star according to Copile. We're following Tilly and Oscar wandering through books as usual, not listening to adults. Mild spoilers from here on out. You can continue listening when I put the book down. If you haven't read this yet, if you're not interested in the book or reading the series, just go on listening. That's fine. So they're not listening to their adults. They go to Paris and they wander through a book and they jump through all these fairy tales, which the fairy tales parts I honestly found myself skimming through a bit because Jack and the Beanstalk is not one of my favorites. Rapunzel and Prince Charming aren't either. Just didn't care for it. I skimmed. It's fine, okay? I got the idea. I didn't care for that part, though I guess they did have to do it to drive the plot forward. Also Paris. Who goes to Paris and only goes to a bookshop? Like, out of Paris, we didn't see much. I get that the idea is not for them to wander through Paris like a tourist would, but if I read a book and there's a setting to Paris, I'm gonna be inspired to go to Paris tomorrow, obviously. You know, I would really want to go to Paris, and then nothing happened. They were there for 2 days, like an interlude, and to move them away from the grandparents' situation, Tilly's grandparents' situation in the bookshop in London. But what did their grandparents do while the kids were away? And then the Christmas party was lovely, where Tilly got a notebook so she can be inspired to write and so on. I liked bits, but overall it was disappointing when nothing happened. They're looking for the character that appeared, fictional character that appeared in the first book, which is fine, and they saw glimpses of him, and in the ending it's just like an opening for the third book, also fine. Just in general, I'm not really impressed with anything here. I like the idea of book wandering, but I don't seem to like the scenes where Tilly actually book wanders. Some little gems in here, but overall didn't live up to my expectations, and I'm really sad about that. Also, love this cover, it's stunning. I'm going to order book 3 because I already have the first 2 and I really want to read it, and I really would like to have these gorgeous spines on my bookshelves. But I'm going to go into it with a bit of hesitation. I'll order it for my next round of book hauls. So book coming down. The next one, which was also a bit of a disappointment, Wondersmith, The Calling of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. Did I say this one was written by Jessica Townsend? This is Anna James. Sorry about that. But Jessica Townsend. This is the second book in the Nevermore series. And going off of the hype and how much I was in the mood for middle grade when I first read Nevermore, the first book in Morrigan Crow, The Trials of Morrigan Crow, I loved it. I rated it 5 stars. And I also loved the magical school setting and the trials to get somewhere, that trope, which is why I like The Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter the best. Nevermore drives a lot from Harry Potter, I think. Like a lot. There's not direct references to it, but I think the whole world and the setup drives a lot, or maybe that's my impression. Let me know what you think. We have Morrigan going to school, getting her time, getting her schedule for classes, trying to make friends with her unit, but not quite. Her patron comes and goes. Honestly, yada, yada, yada. What happened in this one? The only exciting thing was the lanes, the tricky lanes, and her trying to solve a mystery. But then again, he's not supervised by her patron. She's supervised by employees in his hotel, Hotel de Cawan, which is all very fine, well said and done. But just, I didn't quite find anything interesting in this one. Morrigan learns a lot about what being a wundersmith means, about the history of being a wundersmith really, and keeps being convinced by her professors that they're evil and yada yada yada. It's just like, you know, middle book syndrome perhaps. I'll read book 3 and hope this will improve, but for now, sadly, we're going from 5 stars for book 1 to 2.5 for book 2. And then the one book that I read during the 48 hours this past weekend that actually I rated above 3 stars, as in I rated it at 3 stars, was A Tangle of Spells by Michelle Harrison, the 3rd book in the Pinch of Magic series. In this one, we follow 3 sisters, Felice, Betty, and Charlie, and they go on adventures. Most of the adventures kick off with Betty, but then Charlie and Felice are never far behind, except in this one. Felice really takes a back burner, and Betty and Charlie take center stage. This one was possibly the weakest in the series so far, but still, even at being the weakest, I still liked it better than Patrons and Go and Wondersmith, funnily enough. Finally move off the island and move to the mainland, which I was excited for them, for finally being on the mainland and making friends. But I think they missed the inn. They missed their inn, really. Can we talk about how stunning these covers are? Like, I don't have the other 2 books here with me. They're upstairs and I'm too lazy to go get them. Now I'm on my break. I'm disappointed that I ordered used copies of the other 2 and they came with sprayed edges, and this one I ordered new because I didn't want to wait for a used copy to show up, and it doesn't have sprayed edges. I'm disappointed, but overall pretty happy to have this 3. I'm hoping this will remain being a trilogy. I feel like we kind of lost momentum. The first one was the best, the second was like, you know, okay. This one, still at 3 stars. That doesn't mean it's bad, it's just not as good as I was expecting, or maybe this was the first one I read for the readathon actually. So I don't feel I was burned out yet, but maybe I wasn't quite in the mood for middle grade yet, and yet I was forcing myself to read some. So maybe that was a mistake, but otherwise, that's said and done now. I think I've been talking a lot. I don't know how coherent my thoughts were. Readathon, I think I would call the readathon a success. We'll see how this video works out. I read 3 middle grades inspired by Jade, which here they are. And sadly, most of them turned out to be a disappointment. Like, they're okay, but they're not really what I was expecting. So I think the next book I'm gonna read will have to be something different. We'll see. Let me know what you read this weekend. Subscribe to my channel. Follow my blog if you're interested. And yeah, hopefully there'll be someone other than myself who watches this video. I know it's not great filming on my iPhone, no makeup, blah blah blah, but hopefully you got some fun content out of this.